Hello, this is Cat's Diamond Painting. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've joined me here before. Today I am going to be kitting up a new painting with you. I have mentioned on my channel previously that this was one of my plans, and today I am getting stuck in. So I actually have 4 diamond paintings on the go at the moment, which is normally my limit, but I have a particular reason for kitting up this one now. And that is that I'm going to join in with the Summer with the Masters event. So this is an event put on by a couple of large content creators within the diamond painting community, Diamonds and Washi and Tiny Worlds of Wonder. And what I mean by event, first of all, is that it is a particular theme, and diamond painters who are interested in working on a painting with that theme will come together, all work on those paintings at the same time. And there's a sense of community about it. Sometimes there's prizes, sometimes it's just, the satisfaction of joining in. And I wanted to join in with this one because it is Summer with the Masters, and it was a chance to get stuck into this painting that I bought really quite a long time ago now. So the Summer with the Masters event is celebrating the art of artists who were maybe painting quite a long time ago. They were creating work before the year 1927, which is the current cutoff at which work becomes part of the public domain, and you're not infringing any kind of copyright if you use that work to create a diamond painting. I have actually bought a kit from Diamond Dotz. They are a company who do license their artwork anyway. But what it means is that if there's a particular piece of art that you like from before 1927 and you want to get a custom made, you won't be infringing on the artist's right to assert themselves as the owner of that work and to be recompensed for their work. So as I said, I bought this painting quite a long time ago. I bought it actually right back at the start of my diamond painting journey. I bought this in Hobbycraft, which is a big, well, as you'd guess really from the name, a big sort of craft type shop in the UK. They've got all kinds of artists sort of supplies and various different crafting things, and they have a section of diamond paintings as well. At the time I last shopped there, which was probably about a year ago, so I may be out of date, they did only stock Diamond Dotz. But that's great. Diamond Dotz are a really good company, good quality kits, good range of art that you can choose from them. So I picked up Wheat Fields by Van Gogh. And as you can see, I've already got the canvas out of the box. I actually did that a while ago and I've been storing it flat in my portfolio folder, but I haven't opened up the rest of it yet. So I'm going to do that with you today. So I'm just going to show you what you get if you buy a Diamond Dotz painting a little bit. They have these nice boxes that have a picture of the art wrapped around them. On the back, we've got a how it works type section. And that shows you what to do, and it tells you what is included, which is, as is usually the case with diamond painting kits, you get your actual canvas, the fabric, you get a accessory kit, you get all of the diamonds, and that's all that you need. If you just walked into a shop, picked this off the shelf and took it home with you, you would have everything that you needed to do some diamond painting. So first of all, let me show you the painting. Excuse the glare from my ring light. Let's see if I turn that off, is it better? Now there's glare from a different light and you can't see it anymore. So what I'll do is I'll pan over this in a minute. It's fairly small, but I'll just show you it a bit more clearly. So this is a 51 by 39 centimetre design size, and it's got 30 colours in it. And it's a round diamond painting. So I'm going to pan over this, show you it a bit more closely, and then we're going to get stuck into the rest of the contents of the box before I kit up. probably have noticed as I was going through this. This is a poured glue canvas. You can tell because it's got the clear plastic cover. And it's a really nice quality canvas, so it's quite stiff. It's got a scalloped edge, so it won't fray. And it's got a good sturdy feel to it. So I'm going to have a look at what I've got in the box. So I think there may also have been a leaflet when I initially got it that had a bit more information about how to diamond paint in it. Excuse the crinkling. Okay. So this is the standard toolkit that you get with a Diamond Dotz kit. I have a few baggies in here. There's a pen and squishy. There's a little grey tray, and I should just repeat again, I bought this kit a year ago. It's entirely possible that a toolkit that you get today looks different. The few kits of theirs that I've bought, this was all what was included. But yeah, if this is out of date, I can only apologise. And you get 2 plates of wax that come in a little caddy, which is great. That should be more than enough to complete the painting. I did use this wax when I did some paintings from them at the start, and it was good. It had quite a firm feel to it. It's lasted quite a long time in the pen. Would recommend. Okay, here are my drills. So there's some really nice, vibrant, bright colours in this. They are ordered according to the Diamond Dotz colour number. So I'll get onto this later on. Diamond Dotz label their drills a little differently to other companies. They have their own scale. So this 8314, 8331, etc. You're going to see that in place of a DMC colour, but there is a way to convert that. So we've got lots of orangey yellows, a little bit of bright red there. There's going to be lots of greens in this kit. I like this pale green, almost minty green colour. Some of these do look a little staticky in the bags. I can see them really clinging to the side. And Diamond Dotz have a little bit of a reputation for that. So when I kit up, I'm going to be ready with some drier paper to deal with that static. Remember the first one of theirs that I did, I just couldn't understand why it was so hard to get the drills in my storage pots. I hadn't heard about static at that point. So there doesn't seem to be any more than 1 bag per colour. Lovely blues. Oh, that one looks really staticky. I'll try and show you as I'm kitting up that Diamond Dotz have a really nice quality drill. They're very, very sparkly. Really nice, clearly defined facets on them that catch the light. Okay, so that's all my colours. I'm going to get myself set up and then we can start kitting up. So I've just been getting myself all ready to kit up and getting my supplies together. One of the things that I like to do is make use of my printer, which has a copying function. So I've just copied the side of the painting. Diamond Dotz paintings don't come with a sticker sheet with labels or anything like that, or at least they didn't when I bought this. So I've copied it. I've made 2 copies. One of these I'm going to use as a movable key. So I'll be able to move that around if I can't see all the parts of the painting. Although with it being quite small, I probably won't actually need that. It's going to fit on my easel quite nicely. And the other one I am going to use for labeling my pots. So let me get one of these cut up now. So what I mean by that is I am going to sellotape these little labels onto my storage pots, and that's how I'm going to know what colour is what. You can buy sticker makers, and I have thought about doing that in the past. I think they're called Xyron sticker makers or label makers, something like that. And that would be perfect for this because I could just feed this strip that I'm going to be left with through there, and I'd have stickers to go on. However, A, I don't have one, but B, the reason I don't have one, actually it's going to be easier to use my scissors for the last bit of that. The reason I don't have one is I don't actually need it that often. A large proportion of the paintings that I do come from many companies now, which do provide stickers, or at least they provide a, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, a piece of paper saying what's in there, and then you can copy that. So it's not really worth it for the odd occasion when I need it. And to be honest, this works fine. My printer isn't brilliant, so they're not an exact copy. You know, the colours are a little bit different, but with only 30 colours in the painting, it's going to be perfectly easy enough to work out which are which. So that is that. And I will cut these up as I go and add them to my storage pots. So the other things that I have ready for kitting this up are a large bowl, which I'm just going to put the rubbish in just to keep my table a bit more organised. I have the dryer sheet I mentioned. So this is just a standard tumble dryer sheet. It's very scented, so my whole room now smells of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little square off. And if I open a bag and it has static, which means that all the drills are kind of, well, you know it when you see it, because all the drills will be sticking together and they'll be climbing up the walls of your storage pot and they'll be sticking in the bag as you try and tip them out. Basically, if the drills are being awkward, it's worth treating it as though they have static and seeing if this helps. This is a really good trick. So a little square of this will go in a pot with the drills. I'll shake it all around and it will help to sort that out. I also have sellotape for sticking my labels on, scissors for getting into my bags and cutting up my my labels there, and I have a large drill tray which has got a bit grubby from the looks of things. And I will kit up over this tray so that when I inevitably spill some drills, they're nice and easy in a tray for me to tip in. I was umming and ahhing over what storage pots to use. I was thinking about using one of my 60 bottles storage pots and just doubling up where I have a bag that's too big to all fit in one pot. I would have had 2 pots of it. It seemed like quite a few of them might be a little too big for one pot when I went through it just then. So I've decided that I'm going to use my remaining Elizabeth Ward storage system. So I say remaining because, as I've mentioned on previous videos, I have 3 sets of these. They're not actually Elizabeth Ward because those are very expensive and hard to get for me here in the UK. These are ones that I bought on AliExpress much more cheaply, but they do the job well. This is the last one I have. So if you're looking at this thinking, there's quite a strange selection of pots in there, that doesn't look like my one, it's because I mix and match all the drill pots. And I already have 2 kits kitted up using the other 2 trays. This is what I've got left over. So they're not necessarily going to be a perfect match for the amount of drills I need to put in them, but there will be enough room. And then I'll just have some empty pots at the side. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Let me put that there. And let's get going. So I'm going to do these in order just to make it a little easier because I have to find them on here. So I'm just looking for the first strip. Here we go. I'm going to do maybe 3 at a time to start while I'm getting to grips with it. So I was mentioning before about the different codes that Diamond Dotz use. I'd love to know why they do this. I don't know of any other companies that randomly use their own numbering system. I know that Diamond Dotz sells their own drills, so I don't know if that's something to do with it, just giving them their own product number. But they do all convert. So on their website, and I'll try and put a link to it down in the description box, there is a conversion chart. So if you ever work on a Diamond Dotz chart and you want to keep your drills afterwards and you want to know what the DMC codes are, it's easily available. It just takes a little bit of manual checking over them. So, right, I've got to think through what I'm doing. So I've cut that off, but actually I think I'm going to start with the box, and I'm just going to have to guesstimate which size pot I need, and then if I get it wrong, switch them around a bit. It's not really ideal using such a large storage system just for quite a small kit, but I'm hoping that because this painting's quite small, it won't take me too long. Ooh. Okay, so those came out of the bag easily enough, but can you see what I mean about how they're sort of climbing the walls? That is static, and if I don't do anything about that, it's just going to make it a little bit more awkward every time I clip them in and out. So here comes the dryer sheet. I'll pop that in there, shake them around. And can you see how straight away they are behaving much, much better? And I'm actually, while I think about it, just going to shake some out onto a tray to show you what I mean about how nice Diamond Dotz drills are. Can you see how sparkly and uniform they are? The resin drills, they look a little larger than the rounds that I've worked on from some other companies, because if you're not aware, round diamonds do vary in size. Some are bigger than others. They are so sparkly. Ooh. I think I'm going to be fishing these out of my table for a long time. Right, so that's that, and then I'm just going to sellotape this on. What's the best way to do this? Oh gosh, there's cat hair on my sellotape. I have a British short hair cat called Xander, and his fur gets everywhere. Do not be fooled by the name short hair, because he is the hairiest cat I've ever encountered in my entire life. It's a little bit of a pain at times, to be honest. And he molts everywhere. And he likes to get everywhere as well. He doesn't think any part of the house should be out of bounds to him. So, yeah, I do a lot of hoovering, a lot of using scraper tools and things to get fur off, because otherwise, you know, you get guests in the house and they sit down on the sofa and then they're covered in fur. Xander, of course, thinks that's perfectly appropriate and doesn't see the problem at all. But I disagree. So yes, it's not uncommon for me to pick up a random item and discover there's fur attached to it, unfortunately. I love him to bits, but I wish he would hold on to his own fur a bit better. Okay, so some of these are probably not going to be perfect in terms of static removal on this first go. I might have to do it a bit more as I go, but I'm not going to take too long over it today, because frankly that would just be a bit boring for you. So I'm just going to tackle it as best I can. In fact, what I might do rather than my usual trick of 1 square of dryer sheet, is put small squares in all the pots and just leave them in there. Probably makes more sense. So I'm just going to cut these up. My fingers are going to be smelling of this dryer sheet for days. This is the most neutral smelling one I could find as well. Okay. Just cut up a few now, and then I'll come back for more. Make an absolute mess of that, but it doesn't matter because they don't need to look pretty. They just need to go in the pots. I can't be too long over this because I've got to get the dinner on at some point. My husband and son are out at my son's football training. So every Tuesday evening he goes to train with his under-8s team. I say football, I always try and explain that's soccer if you're in the US. We don't have American style football here. Ooh, those don't even want to come out the pack. So he trains with his under-8s team. They have them for every age group. Football is a big deal in the UK, and he's in quite a large club, but there's many of them all around Oxfordshire, which is the county where we live. They all compete in leagues. It's really quite serious considering how young they are. Under-8s just means that at the start of the season last September, they were under-8. So, of course, most of them will actually be 8 by this time in the year, but that's how they work it out. I think now I'm leaving the dryer sheets in, I won't actually shake them that much every time. Because, yeah, they're out at that, and then they'll be back needing their dinner. And I also feel a bit self-conscious filming in front of them. My husband knows that I do this and he doesn't mind getting out of the way if it's a day when he's in the house and I want to film something. My son does not know that I do this, and that's the way I'm keeping it for now. I will tell him at some point. But I've mentioned this before. I think I always worry that he would kind of misunderstand a bit. Let's see if I can fit this in a small one. Because, like many kids his age, he sort of thinks, you know, well, either he wants to be a professional football player or a YouTuber when he grows up. And as adults, we know that not many people are making their livelihood. I'm going to do this to get these out. Not many people are making a living on YouTube, and it's certainly not an aim or expectation that I have, because, you know, I don't think any diamond painting channels ever near the sort of millions of viewers you'd need for that to be a reality. I just do this for fun. But I don't want him to misunderstand and then kind of get overly curious about it, if you see what I mean. I don't know. I think largely it's just me being self-conscious, but it is what it is. So I want to be all done and packed up by the time they come back. And I have to be anyway, because otherwise there'll be no dinner. I'm going to have to do very small bits of sellotape for these. Maybe I should have gone with the round pots after all. I think in trying to not give myself the work of having multiple pots for each colour, I've given myself more work, because actually these pots aren't the easiest to use for it, but never mind. Fine. Gosh, I really can't believe how much static is in these. This has been sat in a drawer upstairs for about a year now. You wouldn't think they would hold static for all that time. I'm going to have to start doing it like this, because it's a bit of a pain actually getting them out of there. makes me laugh when I think about me doing my second ever diamond painting, which was Starry Night by Diamond Dotz. And the drills were doing this then. And I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand why they were jumping around and behaving so strangely. It's annoying enough when you know what it's doing. That pot's got a bit of residue on it from the previous painting. Goodness me. Right, I need to try and make this thinner. So obviously there's much more professional ways to label your pots if that's what you want to do, like I mentioned with a sticker maker. But this, to me, because I happen to have a printer with a copier function, seems like the easiest way. Although we all do it differently, really, don't we? I find that quite interesting that everyone's brains kind of work a little differently in what they want to do. I know some people just label the pots 1 to whatever, and then that's what they do every time. And other people like me change the labels every time and like to order by DMC number, or grouping colours or grouping symbols, all sorts of different ways. But wouldn't life be boring if we all did everything the same, as I always say to my son. Oh my goodness, this is tricky. There's not enough room in the bag to shake around with the dryer sheet in there. I'm trying, but that's not working. So then I'm having to kind of fight them out of the packaging and into the pot, and then try and deal with the static in there. Oh dear. I don't know if you can see, but they're jumping all over the table because I'm having to really whack it to get them out of the tray. It's going really well, folks. I wonder what it is that causes this static. I've seen people say it's things like weather, like temperature and humidity and that kind of thing, which is of course like perfectly possible, but can't be the whole reason when, you know, I don't have it for everything. You know, lots of kits that I kit up don't have issues with static. And oh my God, I'm just trying to move them out of the way of the clasp so I can close it. And this company has a reputation for static in general, so I don't know. Oh my goodness, I keep finding other ones that I've missed. These dryer sheets have got a lot of work to do. Oh. Is that supposed to be upside down? It's like an upside down T. How funny that the symbol's upside down, because there's not a right way round T anywhere else. I've cut that tape too thick, so I'm going to put it on the outer edge. I wish that there were other shops besides Hobbycraft that sold kits in person. I'm always quite jealous in the diamond painting groups I'm in when I see American people talking about going to, I don't know, you have like Joann's and Michael's and Hobby Lobby. You can tell how much time I spend in these groups that I can name your shops, and I don't live in the US. But yeah, it must be really fun to be able to go into an actual shop and browse around. I like Diamond Dotz a lot for the quality, as I mentioned before. But unfortunately, they're not a company that does loads and loads of paintings that are to my taste. There's a few older ones like a few Van Gogh paintings and a couple of other older painters. Not older in age, you know what I mean, ones that were around a while ago. But so they're really good, Diamond Dotz, if you like smaller paintings. They've got a big range of smaller paintings. And if you like partials. So if you don't know what I mean, a partial diamond painting is where some of the canvas is just, it doesn't have glue, it's got a picture already printed on it. And part of it has the normal kind of diamond painting grids and you're putting your drills on, but part of it is already done for you. So they're quicker to do. And I suppose it's a way as well, if part of the picture is very detailed and would look pixelated, for you to do the overall diamond painting in a smaller size. So I suppose that's probably part of the appeal as well. So absolutely nothing wrong with doing partials, obviously. They're just, it's not my preference. I quite like doing big detailed pieces where everything's part of the diamond painting. So Diamond Dotz doesn't have so many paintings that I want to do because they do have so many partials. And one thing that does annoy me a little bit about them, at least in Hobbycraft where I've seen them, this may not be the case everywhere, is that the price for a partial of a certain size seems to be the same as the price for a full diamond painting of the same size, which to me seems a bit off, because surely the production costs aren't the same, wouldn't you think? I would assume that it costs them less, because like you're printing the picture on all the canvas anyway, but if you're then using less glue, okay, you're having to be more specific about where it goes, so maybe that's some of the cost. But then there's less drills. Why wouldn't it cost less overall? Because it's less diamond painting, so for you as a hobbyist, it's going to take you less time to get it done before you need to, you know, buy another painting to get on with your hobby. So that's another part of it for me, that they feel like much less good value. And I diamond paint every day that I'm free, so I don't mind spending, you know, a bit of money on my hobby, but I like to get value for it. I don't want to feel like I'm spending a lot of money on a painting that won't keep me going for very long. So, oh, these drills. I'm only on number 8. I'm going to be a bit quieter the next couple of weeks. I've been posting a video or two every week recently because I've just been having so much fun, frankly. But it might get a little bit trickier. I did mention in my last video, but I wasn't really sure what was happening back then. I have jewellery service starting next week, and it should be 10 days, I believe. That's the standard anyway. It can be longer. If it were going to be a really long case, I would have to ask to get excused, because with me not working, we don't have childcare set up. So normally I'm doing school runs. My husband's work is very, very flexible. He's a university lecturer. He can largely set his own timings, and he doesn't have to actually lecture. It's more teaching at the moment. So he can cover school runs for a couple of weeks, but obviously he couldn't just do that indefinitely. Also, he's got a bit of extra teaching work lined up in early July, which will be you know, a small chunk of extra money that we wouldn't want to miss. And for that part, he won't be able to do school runs. So I need to be back home by then. Whew. So yeah, I wasn't sure if I was doing it or not. I suppose I should have been really, but basically I was, these drills. You know, if I was doing this all over again and I had the time, what I might do is try putting all the drills in the freezer for a bit, because I've read that that's another really good trick. So if I had them in the freezer for a bit and then did the dryer sheet, maybe they would be a little less frustrating to work with. Yeah, so I was supposed to do jury service in 2020 and it was deferred for mental health reasons. And then I was deferred to 2021. And then again, it was deferred, but that was for physical health reasons, which they couldn't accommodate the things that I needed because of COVID restrictions. So I got deferred again. Well, they said to me last year, do you want to be excused or deferred? And it was quite tempting to say excused. But I said deferred because I do believe it's an important thing to do. It's a civic duty, and I can do it if reasonable accommodations are made. Oh, these drills are going to be the death of me. So yeah, I said deferred, and I got a new date, which was for this coming Monday, the 6th of June. So that's fine. But I thought that I would just hear something from them in between then and now. And I haven't heard anything. And it's now Tuesday, so it's 6 days away. But also in the UK, we've got 2 bank holidays at the end of this week. A bank holiday is when basically most things are closed. So a lot of people aren't at work, like Christmas, Easter, those are bank holidays. And this year we have 2 special bank holidays because our Queen has been on the throne for 70 years. So basically, there's today and tomorrow are the only working days left. And I hadn't heard anything, which I thought was a bit odd because, I mean, I suppose on the one hand, I had a date. So, you know, did I need to hear from them? But I don't know, you tell me, maybe I have my expectations wrong, but to me, if you book something in a year in advance, and it's an important official thing like this, you wouldn't just rely on people remembering the letter from last year. You know, you'd send them a reminder and say, hey, just so you know, your jury service is coming up. So I emailed them today, and apparently that's exactly what they think, is that you don't need any further reminders, which I guess it all goes back to how, you know, it's a duty thing, it is my responsibility. And of course I did remember, it's just the fact that I hadn't heard anything from them made me feel like, am I doing jury service? Like, what's going on there? So I emailed today and heard back from the lady who's the jury officer, her title said. And she said, yeah, because you're deferred, basically we don't send you the information again. But we would have sent you information on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, just with some information about what you need to do on Monday. Which is all very well and good, but I need to talk to someone about the health concerns that I still have, which I've mentioned before. It's largely sort of muscular issues. I don't currently have a diagnosis for what's wrong with me. I am exploring that with my doctors, but it is reasonably debilitating. Like, I need to ensure that I'm in a chair that supports me properly, that I can stand up and walk around every so often, that I don't have to turn my head so that my neck's at a strange angle to watch what's going on, all these kinds of things. And I also wanted to notify them of something else, which I'll get onto in a bit. So yeah, I've sent off an email sort of saying, okay, well, in that case, you know, can I talk to someone about these things just to check that I'm not going to get there on Monday and have a really awkward situation where I see that I can't be accommodated. But she didn't get back to me yet. So hopefully I will hear back from her tomorrow, because like I said on my last video, the whole thing is making me a little bit anxious, and that is just a me thing because I'm not used to it and it's pushing me out of my comfort zone. But, you know, they want jurors to be comfortable and happy and confident. And for me, a big part of that is knowing what I'm doing, knowing how I can be accommodated, all of that kind of thing. So I feel like it's sort of also in their interests to be available to talk to people about these things, because, you know, you need jurors to be in the right frame of mind, don't you? Yeah, so I'm hoping she'll get back to me tomorrow. I'll have to call, I guess, if not. I had emailed because I had a list of things to go through. But hopefully I will hear back soon. And then I guess next week, that is gonna be interesting. It's hopefully gonna be a positive experience. I mean, that's not really the point, is it? So it will be what it will be. But I think it will be good for me to do something that pushes me out of my comfort zone. Just need to get these things sorted so that I'm not too nervous going into it. So the other thing that I had to mention to the jury officer is something that's been a bit dominant here the last few days. So, if you watched my last video, and if not, why not? Go watch it straight away. But I mentioned that I was really excited about the weekend. The weekend just gone, because I had family coming to visit. My parents were coming up, my nephew was coming up. We were all really excited. Well, long story short, it didn't happen. So Monday last week, my son had what we thought were a couple of bites on his thigh, and they were a bit itchy, and actually I think quite possibly they were, and it was just a coincidence because timing doesn't quite make sense for them to be related to what I'm about to talk about, but who knows. So he had those, and then on Wednesday he came out of school and he said, well, his teacher said to me he'd had a headache all day and he wasn't feeling very happy. He hadn't really sort of wanted to join in with things that much. I just suppose have I been sticking these different ways around? I have. I've put some of these different ways round. Oh my gosh. Which way is it on the canvas? Bear with me. Okay, so the right way around on the canvas is for the A number to be at the end, like this one, but I haven't done that on all of them, so I'm going to have to switch those. So, where was I? So yeah, Wednesday, my son feels a little bit under the weather. He had a headache. He hadn't really wanted to join in with stuff at school. His teacher said he hadn't been feeling well. He also said to me he'd felt really, really tired all day. And then that evening, he felt quite under the weather. Not like really poorly, but he wasn't himself. And I checked his temperature and he had a very slight temperature, like I think it was like 37.9 or something, you know, just on the margins for being a temperature really. But that's not like him. Normally he runs a little bit lower. So with that and everything else, you know, I figured he was coming down with something. To be honest, at that point, I was thinking COVID. But we did a test at home because we have some tests still in the house, and that was negative. And then he just like cleared up, like within the evening. Like one moment he was saying he felt really rubbish. Could he have some Calpol? And I said to him, can you wait just like half an hour longer, because then you can have it right before you go to bed and it will, you know, see you through the night more. And he was like, yeah, okay, because he didn't feel too bad. And then actually he didn't need it. He just cleared up and started feeling better. So that's all it was, you know. And I just thought, okay, strange. She's got some sort of virus, but it's obviously not bad because it's cleared up within an evening by itself. And the next day he felt great. You know, he went to school. He was perfectly well. He was happy. He had a nice day. It was his last day before the end of term. So he was enjoying that, enjoying the Jubilee things they had on. And that day he came home from school and I did notice he had like a spot around his lip. And actually through the week he had had a couple of other random spots, but they looked very much like bites. So we honestly didn't think too much of it, which in retrospect was stupid. And then the Thursday night he did have one like just above his lip and I thought, well, that's odd. And also, you know, what keeps biting him but isn't biting us at all? So I started to, you know, think, this is a bit strange. But he was still fine. So, you know, you don't go looking for illness particularly when your child's fine, do you? You just assume it's something else. The next day, we're in full on, like, preparing for guests mode. We've got, you know, been doing cleaning. We've got the room sorted so my son's cleaned his room because my nephew's sleeping there. I've been sorting the spare room. Everything's going fine. And then about lunchtime, I looked at him and I was like, Joshua, why have you got spots all around your mouth? And he was like, oh yeah. I was like, this isn't right. That's not normal. That's obviously not bites. That's got to be caused by something else. So I inspected all the rest of him. And I found more spots. And they were, as well as around his mouth, they were on his hands and on his feet. And if you have young kids, you might know where this is going at this point. I thought he has probably got hand, foot and mouth, which is a disease that I had never even heard of until I had him. Oh, I'm losing my patience with these drills big time. This is taking about 3 times as long as normal. So, get off my finger. So my mum is quite medically vulnerable and hand, foot and mouth is generally not serious at all, but it is very infectious. So we needed to find out if he had it or not. So I rang the doctors and they said, can you send in some photos? So I sent in some photos. And at the same time, I'm Googling everything, like, you know, how contagious is it? How serious is it? If someone, you know, how likely is it to make you really poorly? What does it look like? And most of the pictures showed, you know, really bad rashes that didn't look anything like what he had, because like he had several spots. There was clearly something going on, particularly with how they were clustered, but he wasn't covered in them. You know, it wasn't some horrible scary rash, and he was still totally well in himself. So sent off the pictures to the doctor and they were brilliant. You know, first of all, one guy called back who I think was a paramedic who was based at the surgery. Not sure why, but he called back and he ran through some questions, asked how my son was, asked about various symptoms, and he said, it does look to me like hand, foot and mouth, but I'm going to ask a doctor for a second opinion. Which he did, and a little while later I had a text from the doctor saying, yeah, it does look like hand, foot and mouth. And that was the end of our weekend plans. My family were all waiting on tenterhooks back home, and I had to ring and say, yeah, they think it's hand, foot and mouth. So they couldn't come because even though, as I said, it's you know, thankfully not generally very serious, it can be nasty on rare occasions, particularly if you're elderly and or immunocompromised, which my mum is. So yeah, we had to cancel. And they are now coming in July instead, but we were all very sad. To be honest, me and my son had a bit of a cry. He was so excited to see his cousin. It was sad, you know, because there's been so much we've missed in the last few years, as everyone has, and you know, people have had it far worse than us, don't get me wrong. Ugh, but yeah, so that was what I also needed to make the jury officer aware of, was that because it is very contagious and adults can catch it, there's just an outside chance that I could still be incubating it. And I don't expect that to be a problem, but I felt like I had a duty to mention that. See, I'm now worried I'm not even going to get this done before my husband and my son get back. I'm really cross about this level of static. Like a 30 colour kit should not be taking this long. You know what I mean? It's like every colour is taking me 2 or 3 times longer than it should do. Has anyone else had this experience with Diamond Dotz kits? The problem is I have to go cook soon. I'm going to be having a very late dinner, I think, because I can't really stop while I'm midway through. Might just make dinner a bit simpler than I was going to. I'm only having sausages, so if I do some form of potato that cooks up really quick and just do some steamed veg maybe in the microwave or something like that. Oh, now I'm knocking the camera. Okay, colour number 18. This is quite a big one. So, even though I really don't need a pot as big as this one for it, I think I'm going to do that just because I'm going to run out of useful other sized ones. Also, might be a little easier to tip out into. Let's see. Because hopefully I can just vigorously shape them into there. Oh, that was so much easier. Why haven't I kitted them all up into really big ones? Diamond Dotz have actually started doing square kits as well in the last year or so. They were only doing rounds when I bought this. Am I still in frame? I'm getting myself all tied up in knots with this. This is not a fun kitting up, I've got to be honest. So yeah, I'd quite like to try squares, but unless they're in stock at Hobbycraft, they're not the easiest to buy from. So last time I looked at their website, it was an EU-based website, and it didn't seem to have an option to sell to the UK, which confused me somewhat. Right, so I'm using the biggest pots I can for the rest of it because it's a lot quicker, it turns out, than when I'm trying to squeeze them into the smaller pots. Don't know why I'm still doing 2 bits of tape either. I'm all confused. Right, how many do I have? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more colours, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've got 9 bigger pots, so I'm going to have to do some of them in the smaller ones, but not all of them. Is anyone else doing the Summer with the Masters event who's watching this? If you're not and you want to know more about it, I think I did mention before that the people who are hosting it are Diamonds and Washi and Tiny Worlds of Wonder, who are 2 YouTube creators. And you can get more details either by looking at their channels, where they will have videos, or Instagram. I know that Diamonds and Washi in particular has an Instagram she uses and posts some details on, and there's also a Facebook group which I think is called Diamonds and Emeralds, which is Diamonds and Washi plus Emeralds and Fairy Light, another YouTube creators group, but there are details in there as well. And it's just supposed to be a fun thing, you know. There's nothing. They said they don't want it. They just want it to be relaxed. It's nothing very official. All you need to do to enter is be working on a kit which qualifies by being old enough. So by being based on art from 1927 or older. That's all. And it doesn't have to be a new start, and you don't have to finish it within the 2 months of the event. They said last year that because quite a lot of older paintings might need to be very large to get the detail, that it just didn't make sense to require that they're finished. I'll try and finish this one because it's very small. But as I said, it's one of 5 whips. So we'll see how I get on. Oh, I'm looking forward to this kitting up being over. I normally quite enjoy it. Not this time. I like these colours. Isn't this bright orange fun? It's going to be interesting working on this one because, like I said, the rounds are a bit bigger than some other companies. But also, they don't have guide circles, which I wouldn't say I have like a really strong preference. It's just that most of the rounds I've recently done are from Diamond Art Club, and they do have guide circles. If you don't know what I'm on about, what I mean is with rounds, so you've got your painting and it's split into little mini squares for each kind of pixel, if you like, for want of a better way of describing it. And sometimes there will be a round faint circle around the symbols, and sometimes there won't. And if there is, that's called a guide circle. And these ones don't have them. So just because I haven't done any without guide circles for a while, I wonder how that will go. Last time I did a Diamond Dotz painting, I was very new to diamond painting, and I was not doing any kind of multi-placing or anything like that. So that's where I find that particularly helpful, I think, for lining that up. But it's all good. New challenges. Keeps it interesting, doesn't it? We could get out. Oh. Do you think talking to your drills counts as an official sign of madness? I think it might do, but then I think these drills might have driven me mad. So we're having rather a strange half term here. Half term is the holiday, a week off holiday that kids in the UK get from school to break up each term. So there's 3 main terms and each one is broken up by a half term holiday. And we didn't have a huge amount of plans, but we would have made various plans to get out and do things. But because of the hand, foot and mouth, we haven't wanted to go out and do too much because we didn't know if it was contagious. Like the guidance online says that you can be contagious a little bit before the symptoms come out. And usually for a peak of about 5 days, but you can stay infectious for quite a long time, like potentially even weeks. So yeah, we're a bit concerned about taking him out to do anything that would be too much close contact with other people. You know, he likes things like swimming, but that's very indoors, very, you know, bodies making contact with changing rooms that someone else might then touch, that kind of thing. But then equally, the guidance says that once your child's feeling well and they don't have a fever and they don't have any open sores in their mouth, they can go back to school, because it's something where you may be contagious for a long time. I mean, life can't stop for weeks and weeks and weeks, can it? When, you know, a lot of the time you might not even be contagious. So we've been a bit torn really between wanting to do the right thing and making sure that he doesn't risk infecting other people, but also, you know, he's 8 and he's already had a big disappointment this half term. We don't really want to tank his whole holidays either. So it's sort of compromised by staying in a lot at the start of the week, but later in the week we hope to get out more, maybe have friends over. Obviously we'll make them aware so that they can make their own judgment about if they want to take that risk. But, you know, school friends will be in a classroom with him next week. So, you know, what are you going to do? But one of the things that we decided to do that he is so excited about, which we wouldn't have been doing otherwise, this really is a cheering him up kind of thing, is go to a safari park on Thursday. So one of my sisters and her family are on holiday this week, and they went to Longleat Safari Park. Oh my God, look at this. So they went to this safari park, which is partly like a zoo. Like there's an area where you just walk through like normal and see animals in that section. But there's also the sort of safari section where you drive through amidst kind of big cats, and I think there's monkeys in that section. There's, oh my God. You're witnessing me losing it here. Oh, honestly, I've been doing this for an hour already, I think, and I'm not done. I might have to cut some of this out because it's just taking so long. Yeah, so they went to one called Longleat, but that's quite a long way from us because we don't actually live near them. But we looked it up and found that there's one in a place called Woburn, which is only an hour and a quarter drive from us. And it's actually a little bit cheaper than Longleat. I don't know if that means there's less there, but there's plenty there that he will enjoy because they've got animals he really likes, like in the foot safari, as they call it, the bit that you just walk through. They have, amongst other things, otters, and otters are his absolute favourite animal. So, I mean, that alone, he would travel a very long way just to see otters. But we'll see all of it, and he's really, really excited. So it's a bit of an expensive day out, but, you know, he deserves it. I mean, I feel rotten for him, I really do. And then, like I say, hopefully we'll get some of his friends over, or maybe arrange for him to go out for a play date. And other things that he really likes at the moment are things like playing pool. So he'll probably go play pool, and again, you know, that's an indoor thing, so we haven't wanted to do it. But later on in the week, I think with him being so well and the fact that he's not getting any spots and hasn't for a few days now, I think that the judgment will be that it's safe to take him out amongst people. God, the mess on this table is unreal. I've spilled drills everywhere. Just need a few more scraps of dryer sheet. 4 more colours to go. Almost there. I'll be so glad when this is over. I mean, if you're watching this, please don't be put off trying this company. They are a good option. The finished product is gorgeous. I know from my previous experience, so it is just about worth it, but maybe take some extra steps like putting them in the freezer first, because as I have said repeatedly, this is not much fun. Oh, I think it would have been better if I'd used deeper pots as well, because those bigger bags that I put in the big drill pots went in like a dream. These smaller, shallower ones where I can't do that, I think I'll be having nightmares about them tonight. Might need a glass of wine to recover. Oh my God. Get out. I mean, I've spilt this colour everywhere and there's not that many of them. But it really is like they have a life of their own. Almost there. I think I'll get started with this in the next couple of days. I've just got a small bit left to do on the row of the whip that I'm currently on, which is Old Waterway Cottage. I kitted, no, I didn't kit that up. I unboxed that on this channel and I have a video of it. It's a Dreamer Designs painting. Well, Dreamer Designs kit rather, of a Dominic Davison painting. He is one of my favourite artists. Absolutely love his work. And actually this is something that I really enjoy about diamond painting, is that I was not particularly clued up on art before. I mean, I wouldn't say I am now. I'm not clued up on art, but I've learned a lot more about what I like. There are now particular artists that I could say I enjoy, and I just really enjoy his work. So I'm working on that, but as I've said before, I like to work on paintings one row at a time, so that I can tick off one whole row and feel that sense of accomplishment, but also so that I can roll it up more neatly. So when I'm switching between different paintings, I just find it a lot easier if I've done it one row at a time, because then when I roll it back up to go back in the box to be stored until I next come back to that painting, it's just, I find it rolls up better, basically. I find if I just have, if I have drills on certain parts of the painting and not on others, I just find it hard to roll up neatly in a way that doesn't crease the canvas at all. Whew. Is that this colour? No. Almost there. Oh, I could celebrate. Yeah, so I will be doing that, and then I might have a go at this one later in the week. As I said before, it's a fairly small painting by my standards, so I'm hoping it will work up quite quickly. But there's a fair amount of confetti, so colour changing basically is what I mean by that, where within one small section of the painting there might be lots of different colours. Oh my god, these ones are just jammed in. It's particularly bad with these really small ones, because as well as them needing to go in a smaller pot, because it's just ridiculous to put this few drills in a really big pot, although I probably should have just done that to save myself a headache, but they just seem to get particularly stuck in the bag, and I can't be as cavalier about losing some of them because there's only a few of them. So, fun. Right, I'm gonna have to end this here and finish sorting my drills and fixing the labels later, because I have got to get on with dinner. So, I don't know if you've enjoyed that, because you might have felt my frustration about the static through the screen. But maybe you've learned something about dealing with static, or at least had a laugh at my expense. Yeah. Anyway, I hope that was useful, or at least interesting. And yeah, maybe consider joining the Summer of the Masters event. Freeze your drills, people. Freeze your drills. See you next time, guys. Bye.